Charleston Rambo. Not only do he got a cool name, he got a quick first step off the line of scrimmage. I really like this guy, man. He was one of them ones in college. The familiarity is there with Jalen Hurts. The route running is cool. I would say this though, man. Quez Watkins got to watch his body because the Eagles are bringing in competition at the wide receiver position.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just want you to know we cooks over here. We cooks. Money is nice. Championships are better. The Him collection via the print champs right now. Make sure you tap in with that. Go ahead and get that. Become him. You know what I'm saying? In the world full of beta males, you gotta be him. Get the Him collection at the print champs right now. You know what I'm saying? We do a little. The XFL is perfect for players like wide receiver Charleston Rambo, who needs that extra bit of polish that comes with more experience, more game reps, and more opportunities to make big plays. A former standout wide receiver collegiately at Oklahoma and the University of Miami, Rambo spent last summer with the Carolina Panthers and this spring with the Orlando Guardians in the XFL. He impressed. You know what I mean? 35 receptions, 430 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he earned the invite to the rookie minicamp. He parlayed his performance last weekend into a contract with the Eagles. The team announced on Tuesday that Rambo signed to join the 90-man roster, and to make room for Rambo, the Eagles waived offensive tackle Jared Williams. I would like to point out that we have guys in high regard in the trenches. For us to make a spot from the trenches for another wide receiver after we just got Zakis from, just let's let that be known. Rambo is long, 6'1", lean, 177-pound receiver who played 4 seasons at Oklahoma, including 2019 when he caught 43 passes, 743 yards, and 5 touchdowns with Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback. And then on to Miami. In that lone season at Miami, Rambo had a monstrous season with 79 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 7 touchdowns. He signed with the Carolina Panthers following the 2022 NFL Draft, remained with the Panthers until he was waived on August 30th, playing with the Guardians in the spring was a positive for Rambo, who was one of 4 game who in a 4-game stretch caught 16 passes, 275 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. Now he's an Eagle and joins the team in phase 2 of the offseason program at the NovaCare complex. So a couple of things I want to take away from this article. It seems like, you know what I mean, going to the XFL is working out for some of these guys. You know, the NFL is looking at players coming out of the XFL, so that's good news for a lot of guys still trying to, make their way and get their chops or whatever the case may be and still make NFL rosters. The biggest takeaway from this, though, was that you still have that unknown with Quez Watkins, and they're bringing in Rambo could run. You know what I mean? He wasn't that impressive with his 40 time at his combine in 2022. I think he ran like a 4.53 or something like that. That probably, helped his slot in that draft. But Rambo can get up and down the field. Rambo runs really, really good routes as well. You know what I mean? He's a better route runner than Quez Watkins. I think his hands might be a little better than Quez Watkins. I think all Quez Watkins would have over a Rambo is speed. You know what I mean? Potentially in some yardage after catch situations. But Quez got to show up. You got to step up. You got dudes that are being invited to the tryout and they're now making the roster. You know what I mean? So, Quez, it's some uncertainty there with the position that Quez Watkins is, occupying right now, if you want to be for real. It's some uncertainty there, man, because this guy made the 90-day roster. This guy could be around. You know what I mean? That's a huge confidence boost. And he's catching passes and his familiarity with Jalen Hurts. It's a major familiar factor there. Jalen Hurts is familiar with A.J. Brown, best friend. You know what I mean? Familiar with Devontae Smith from college. You know what I'm saying? Familiar with Rambo from college. You know what I mean? Landon Dickerson from college. You know what I mean? His offensive coordinator since he was 4 years old. So the Philadelphia Eagles are smart in getting guys around your franchise quarterback, your $255 million guy that he trusts and that he got a bond with already. So this could be, a little spooky for Quez. But I'm interested to see how this one unfolds because this guy was pretty good in college. And, the Eagles are doing their due diligence. They're doing their homework to make this roster as explosive as possible. And, this is another notch on the Howie Roseman belt. Might not be as big as people might think, but, Howie Roseman is bringing in competition. You know what I mean? Guys like Covey, some of these guys' days are numbered playing in the midnight green. If you're not contributing, you got to move to the wayside. And that's the type of operation that we running, man. I hate to have to caveat a little bit into some Philadelphia 76ers talk. You know we don't talk about this enough, but Doc Rivers was fired today, relieved, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people are excited about it. In my case, you know what I mean? I think it's a tad bit just... I don't know how to feel about the firing of Doc Rivers because the last 2 games that I saw was effort on the players. You know what I mean? It was effort on the players, man. A lot of these coaches get bad raps, but then you got guys who just lifelong guys who can't get it done. Lifelong guys who can't get it done. Doc had the CP3 thing, and it ain't work out in Boston. They got Doc out of there. CP3 still don't got a ring. Doc come over here with James Harden. James Harden has made the playoffs every year since he's been in the NBA. James Harden has never missed the playoffs. Still ain't get a ring. You know what I'm saying? Embiid did a lot of deflecting, in my opinion, in his preseason conference, saying me and James can't do it all. Bro, you was horrible in that Game 7. You know what I mean? The MVP was horrible in that Game 7. We got to call a spade a spade. At the end of the day, Doc Rivers doesn't take the floor and play. Now, I understand Doc ain't perfect. You know what I mean? I understand it. Listen, I ain't gonna lie. I'm looking at myself in the camera. This purple hitting hard. It's purple hitting hard. I understand that Doc ain't perfect. You know what I mean? But also at the same time, we got to keep it a stack. Where was the effort from the players? Everybody wants to blame Tobias Harris. They want to point fingers at Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris arguably was the most consistent player in the playoffs for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sorry, for the Philadelphia 76ers. He was the most consistent. He averaged a dub in the first round. Yeah, well, he had a double-double. I mean, listen, consistency is what we needed if we wanted to win. But being as though you had an opportunity, Game 6 at home, and you wet the bed, then you let Tatum drop a 50 ball, how is that Doc Rivers' problem? Al Horford shutting down Embiid, how is that Doc Rivers' problem? James Harden being passive and passing up layups, not wanting to shoot, how is that Doc Rivers' problem? How's that Doc Rivers' problem? How? PJ Tucker was balling, knocking down his corner threes. How is it Doc Rivers' problem when your team just don't look like they want to be involved in the game anymore? Some things to think about, man. When you pick a coach, you know somebody got to be hard on Embiid. It ain't no, oh, we know he can do everything on the floor. You got to demand something out of Embiid. Embiid need a coach like that, man. Maybe that's the one downfall I can say. You know what I mean? All Doc Rivers did all season was talk about how great he thought James Harden was talk about how great he thought Embiid was. You know what I mean? I don't think Doc was the problem. I don't think the roster was the problem. I just think those dudes didn't show up in the last 2 games of the season. Because if you can get past Boston, I think you going to this. You going. Now Jimmy ain't going quietly, but they don't have nobody that can give you 50 over there. Jimmy's the only one that's capable of giving you 50 over there, and he only one man. They don't have no Jaylen Brown. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, we got to do some reflecting and we got to keep it a bean and we got to call a spade sometime, man. Everything not on these coaches. Now, what do the Philadelphia 76ers do at this point? Do you blow it up? You know what I mean? What type of coach do you need? I personally would like to have Mark Jackson in the building. I think Mark Jackson deserves a shot. And just from his color commentary, I know that Mark Jackson knows what's needed, you know what I mean, to build the roster because he was there and he helped build that roster that Steve Kerr kind of took over. And I know with Mark Jackson, I kind of sense that Mark Jackson knows how to get the best out of players in terms of, you know what I mean, demanding what's needed from players in critical situations. Putting players in the best spot to succeed. All we had was the high pick and roll, and them dudes figured it out, and it was a rapsy scapsy. But let me know what y'all think in the comments.